Hi, I'm Felicity Harrop, the Soil Knowledge Broker for the Soil CRC, and I'm sitting here with Simon Kruger from the West Midlands Group to talk about the Risk Reward Guide, which is a Soil CRC project led by the West Midlands Group. So Simon, what motivated West Midlands Group and other grower groups to investigate the Risk Reward Guide?
It started off at a meeting at the conference in Adelaide in 2022, and I think that was my first introduction to the idea behind the project. And to be quite frank, at first, you know, we had lots of big ideas about what risk reward tool could look like for growers and for our farmers. The conversation started leaning towards us understanding or having a discussion with the farming systems groups that were there about how it was our kind of role as the intermediary between the research of the Soil CRC and of our farmers and our growers, that we play a really, really big and really important role in disseminating that information and making sure that research gets towards our farmer audience in a really palatable and useful kind of format. And so this project kind of grew from being maybe just a tool in and of itself for farmers, but rather something that could be useful for grower groups and for farming systems groups who are part of the Soil CRC as next users, to improve the way that, you know, we I guess talk about risk and reward with our farmers.
So how has the guide changed the way you communicate with farmers?
It's probably just been a bit of an evolution in how we do talk to our farmers. Certainly the project gave us a really good opportunity to kind of workshop and practice a few different methods and tools that might land with our farmers. In particular, obviously the tool is in its end format is a writing guide, and that writing guide has kind of works on these three different formats, so an infographic and a synthesis report and a full report. And so for us at the West Midlands Group, we've certainly we had the opportunity within the project to see how that landed with a group of farmers, so 10 farmers, and then certainly Corrigin Farm Improvement Group and Central West Farming Systems also had a similar approach where they tested out these three different formats and whether they landed with farmers. And so we've had quite a bit of success with that. And so moving forward, we've certainly started kind of tailoring the content that we write to these different kind of audiences, things. So we changed the way we're talking in our articles and e-news reports and stuff. At the same time, certainly from a field day kind of event perspective, we've also utilised the infographic to produce a different form of handouts. And so with those events, traditionally we'd have quite a bit of research detail, and it'd be written out like in pages of kind of writing with a few pretty technical graphs here or there. But what we tried to do with this project is condense that into an A3 page that captures those really key results, the risk, the reward, the payoff that farmers can see in a practice that we're talking about on the ground or in a particular trial. And so we've really tried to utilise that in our events and then in our normal communication material from that point.
Yeah, great. And have you received some feedback about that process from farmers or other grower groups that have been using it? You know, have they found it more palatable or easier to read, example?
Firstly, we obviously had the focus of our particularly involved farmers for it, and so those are guys that we went out and deliberately user tested with, I guess. And so that's almost like a blind testing where we bring the infographic or the synthesis report and the full report out and sit down with them at a table. They don't actually know what they're going to be seeing straight away, and then I sit back as an observer. How were they interacting with the infographic? Were they reading it from top to bottom, or not necessarily how their eye was moving around, but what they kind of focused on and what they thought were good parts of it and what were parts that needed some improvement. And then we've gone back and tried to improve that a little bit and then brought it back to them again. And then at the same time, we've also tried a less intensive method, in the sense that we've field days and events and stuff that we've had pop up like last year and the year before. We've bought one of the infographics in the A3 and put it out in front of our farmers and said, this is what we're trying to do. If you guys have got feedback at the same time, then let's gather the feedback at the same time. And so
part of the guide is the economic analysis. how did you go implementing that? And I guess there are some challenges with economic analysis with the project.
The economic analysis, the dollars and cents, is something that's really, really important for our farmers and for our growers to see and to understand before they kind of jump on and adopt or at least have a crack at a new practice. And so certainly we added the economic analysis as an important part of the risk reward tool. And so there is a template and there is some guidance on that. A caveat to saying that is that, like, again, economic analysis is not an easy thing to do. There's a reason why lots of grower groups necessarily don't include them in their final reports, but certainly there's a recognition that farmers would love to see that work done more often.
So this tool was developed through the Soil CRC for soil management communication, but I'm imagining this would have a wider potential beyond soil management. Do you see that potential for this tool being used for other industries as well?
I think there's something to be said about it's good research communication, really, and all we're trying to do is exemplify or at least show some versions of good research communications, and this guide is kind of a space that might be able to upskill a researcher in some easier or more efficient kind of or more effective communication skills. And so that goes across not just agriculture but any kind of research industry. I think it's useful. Yes, it's tailored quite specifically to the Soil CRC and to agriculture, but there's no reason why the learnings couldn't come across with when it comes to, you know, talking to a different maybe target audience than maybe where you sit at the moment. So it's more of a bottom-up look rather than a top-down look, I think.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks so much for sitting down with me, Simon, and sharing your work with the Risk Reward project. It's a fantastic tool that's helped to really accelerate some of the learnings from the Soil CRC research, and I'm sure the grower groups and our 20 participant organisations really look forward to being able to use it to help them to communicate the research going forward in some of their soil management, but beyond some of the research that they're doing as well, and beyond the life of the Soil CRC. So thanks again.
No worries, Felicity. Absolute pleasure to chat about it. I'm again can't speak about it enough, but like the opportunity as a grower group member and participant of the Soil CRC to be involved in Program 1, where this kind of conversations happened right from the start, has been nothing but good news for us. And so I really hope that there is a good legacy of this, and it's that people find it as useful as we've found it, and hopefully, you know, I can play a part, or the organisation can play a part in pushing that forward even after the life of the Soil CRC is finished.